Very warm welcome to my viewers. As you know, ऑनलाइन लेक्चर सीरीज एससीईआरटी दिल्ली के माध्यम से प्लेटफॉर्म है नई नए नए लेक्चर्स और नए नए शिक्षकों से नया नया ज्ञान प्राप्त करने का, जिसमें हमारे डायरेक्टर एससीईआरटी श्री रजनीश सर, एकेडमिक हेड डॉक्टर नार सिंह सर और हमारी ऑल डाइट्स एंड एससीईआरटी फैकल्टी इसकी धन्यवाद की पात्र है। आई एम आसिफ खान, लेक्चरर, डाइट मोतीबाग। आज मेरा टॉपिक है प्री वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग फॉर विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड चिल्ड्रन। इसके साथ ही मैं अपने बारे में बताऊं कि मैंने लगभग 2 साल एज ए स्पेशल एजुकेटर काम किया और तकरीबन 5 साल एससीईआरटी डाइट में जुड़े रहने का अनुभव प्राप्त हुआ। तो इसके साथ ही मुझे स्पेशल एजुकेशन और डिसेबल्ड एंड फील्ड ऑफ विजुअल इम्पेयरमेंट में खासी अनुभव हुआ और मैंने इसी विषय को चुना। सो माय टॉपिक प्री वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग फॉर विजुअल impaired children. Before we start, we learn about some keywords, some definitions, and the basic concepts. So first as we show our topic, pre-vocational training. Pre-vocational training designed as a preparatory training, pre-vocational training, which does not concentrate on job-specific skills, but rather attempts to enhance a subject's work habits, ethics, and basic people skills they can then utilize in a competitive market. Another, vocational training. Vocational training's main definition is vocational training is one of the potential determinants of employment among people with differently abled. They should get proper vocational training after a full assessment of training needs and suitability, carried out by a multidisciplinary team of doctors, therapists, social workers, counselors, and other professionals. Once course is selected, these special children need effective special training. Even within the inclusive education, and it is the most important requirement in the process of their rehabilitation. Proper and efficient vocational training develops capabilities of PWDs and they can complete in the labor market with other persons. And also one term is we show vocational education. This something uh, differ. These has something differ. So the vocational education has one slightly another meaning, which is vocational education is useful learners with psychological or emotional problems, impairments of sight, hearing, and speech. People with learning disability. For those with moderate to severe disabilities, vocational learning can help them to live independently and earn their livelihood. As we show our topic, pre-vocational training for visual impairment. What the mean of visual impairment? Here we define that visual impairment is umbrella term which consists the terms partially sighted, low vision, legally blind, and totally blind are used in the educational context to describe students with visual impairments. They are defined as follows: partial sighted and care some type of visual problems have resulted in a need for special education. Children with impaired vision are usually divided into the following two groups: totally blind children or partially. Totally blind children have 100% non-sighted, and partially blind or partially seeing children, the name of these two groups are quite self-explanatory. The technical definition of a blind person, according to still another, vision of less than 20 by 200 in the better eye after correction. In ordinary language, this means total inability to see. Partial blindness is halfway between blindness and normal vision. They retain brittle, relative low degree of vision and can read only the large print. Those who have remaining vision, they read limited amount of regular print under very special condition. Here we uh, discuss about 20 by 200. These are Snellen chart number. This means 20 by 200 means if a normal person can see a clear picture by 200 feet, and after correction a visually impaired, or we can say a blind person who have partially sight can see this picture in clear only in 20 feet. So the difference between 20 feet and 200 feet, this, this ratio is much bigger. Now we discuss about some data, census and recent data. Disabled population by type of disability percent in India. According to 2011 census, total disabled persons in seeing, in hearing, in speech disorder, in movement or physically, in mental retardation, in mental illness, or learning disabilities, or any other multiple disability and any other. So proportion of disabled population by type of disability, the seeing and in movement portion are bigger than other disabilities. So we have to focus it on these three major parts of disability. Background of the study: when we discuss about the pre-vocational training in school, we we can see in future of children's career, their livelihood, and their future belongings. So, the career education for students with visual impairments needs to begin as early as possible and include self-awareness and career exploration activities, job seeking skills, instructions, information about job keeping, and encourage opportunities for gaining work experience. Teaching skill in the area of career education can provide students with visual impairments of all ages with the opportunity to learn firsthand the work done by members of the home and community. The students need to gain an understanding of the many jobs that are available, from the bank teller to the gardener to the social worker to the artist and much more. So the student who is blind or visually impaired should have the opportunity to explore a wide range of careers in a systematic, well planned manner, as they will not be able to casually observe these jobs as their sighted peers can. Area the student may need specific instruction in include knowledge of relationship between work and play, understanding of the value of work, knowledge of characteristics of valued workers, awareness of the variety of jobs people hold, awareness of jobs people with visual impairments often hold, job acquisition skills, examples, ads, resumes, applications, and many more. This typical job adaptation made by workers with visual impairments, in-depth knowledge of a variety of jobs of interest, work experience, laws related to employment and management of readers and drivers. What have the current status or current situation in our inclusive school or special school of these pre-vocational or vocational training programs? So the status we have discussed about: disability is an area of responsibility for more than one government department. Health, education, welfare, and labor departments have their specific role to play. Special education is the responsibility of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, whereas integrated education is under the Department of Education, Ministry of Human Resource Development. The curricular decisions are influenced by the respective departments. It comes under the National Policy on Education, makes a specific mention of special education, which has brought about changes in special education and integrated education. Similarly, the Person with Disabilities Act has certain mandates for education of the disabled persons, which is yet to be implemented. This is likely to have effect on teacher preparation, curriculum, and instruction, and other related areas. Many schools have their own policies and philosophy, though they follow a prescribed syllabus of CBSE board, ISE board, or state board, and so on, the curriculum for special education should take into account the school's policies. For instance, admission decisions on age restriction or type of and severity will influence the content of a special education curriculum. So here we discuss it about the curriculum of special schools. Now, what will be the preparation in these schools, in these setup? So, preparation for transaction from school to work is critical to community integration. Work is essentially important for persons with disabilities. It generates the respect of others and can be a source of pride, self satisfaction, personal fulfillment, and of course, income for persons with disabilities. Preparation must begin early and may include lifelong ongoing support services whenever feasible. Training should be provided at community based work sites with attention is directed towards reinforcing appropriate work behavior and improving job related skills. Instructional techniques that are helpful include task analysis and behavioral instructional procedures. An essential component of the instructional process is an assessment inventory of the work training site and the required job tasks. Elementary school programming for vocational preparation should include responsible like collecting papers, cleaning tables, serving snacks, delivering messages. These are useful in developing career awareness. How can we these are useful? So we describe can if we collecting papers, if a visually impaired children collecting papers, he or she count, he or she manage, he or she uh, manage in a row. So he has the habit to arrangement of papers, and he can be a good bookbinder. He can a job seeker in the field of bookbinding and another jobs like cleaning tables, serving snacks. These are the etiquettes and can be a good servant in the high class hotels and so on. Delivering messages. Delivering messages is also important skill which is mentioned by uh, in a book. Delivering message. These are useful in developing career awareness and feeling of job satisfaction. Intermediate school year work habits such as attention to rule compliance can be taught through functional and age appropriate activities. Concurrently in both classrooms and community based settings. In the latter years, the students should receive a combination of classroom instruction and training at varied work sites. What what we see about NP 1986, our first national policy on education in 1986, which was modified in 1992. What it is says about pre-vocational or vocational education training programs. So the national policy on education in 1986 promulgated the introduction of systematic, well-planned, and rigorously implemented programs of vocational education is crucial in the proposed educational reorganization. In the NPE to 1986, it was described by work experiences work experience subject will be include for class 1 to 5th, and pre-vocational education, it has mentioned in 1986 NPE. Pre-vocational education will be included at class 6 to class 8, and after that vocational education will be submitted. So class 9 to 12 vocational education with along with general education is offered. Now our new education policy 2020 have launched and implement. So now overview of National Education Policy 2020 says about vocational education is reimagining vocational education, need for advocacy through multi-stakeholder and multi-channel engagement. And number 3 point is scope for seamless interoperability between academic and vocational streams. So the very first point we see reimagining vocational education. NP 2020 says about reimagining vocational education, which is the reimagining vocational education which comes on the writing page of 43 to 44 in the crux of the matter, where the entire focus on vocational education has been very neatly presented in the policy document, and the what we understand after reading the policy from the vocational of the scaling point of view is that there is a need for a lot of advocacy and exploring how multi-stakeholder and multi-channel engagement can happen. You know, to make this policy a reality. So I would say moving from idealism to realism from policy to practice requires lots of people coming at the picture, and also lots of changes which have to happen in the mindset of the people to think differently, to implement a policy which is quite a radical shift from what two conventional process have been in the field of education, and particularly in the field of skills and vocational education and training. So the policy in various parts are the talks about and makes very strong cases for seamless interpre- interoperability between academic and vocational stream. Next point is in national policy on education, you can see inclusive, interoperable, and interdisciplinary. Inclusive, interoperable, and interdisciplinary. These words are repeatedly many times in national policy on education. So you can understand about these are some of the keywords which keeps appearing in the policy document, which is the definitely making the case for outcome based education, which is much needed because as we are aware that there is a need to make the youth employable, get the right type of employment, or even encourage them to become job creator, not so on job seekers. So become job creators. National policy on education emphasizes these keywords of key terms. Pre-vocational training component in curriculum. Pre-vocational training, pre-vocational education has been conceptualized in Samagra Shiksha as the integration of work-based activities with teaching learning process rather than a separate add on to the existing scheme of studies of education from class 6 to 8. Pre-vocational education prepares skilled resources and provide them employment opportunities with the support of equal opportunity employers. The training program comprises three components, namely basic skill building, sector-specific training, and pre-employment module. Prepares trainees for employment opportunities in retail, information technology, hospitality, banking, e-commerce, healthcare, and manufacturing sectors, etc. Occupations in which training is to be doing in inclusive or special schools. In India, we have some different resources, different budget in states. So there is some difference in state to state, and we can know about the Delhi district, Delhi state. So all districts special schools persuade visual impaired persons candle making, computer skills, music, chair caning, and bookbinding. So these are occupations and vocational programs are doing well in special schools of Delhi state. Along with pre-vocational school skills for students with disabilities include time management. Pre-vocational skill have a first priority for time management. Number two, problem solving. If a student can solve some critical or some light problems in their presence, they can be a much better employer, much better job creator. Next, next point, personal hygiene and appearance. This is the most appro- most responsibility and integrity, attitude, identify the productive activities, plan and organize productive work, identify the tools, equipment, and material used in the production of goods and services, develop basic skills to observe, manipulate, and participate in work practice, inculcate socially desirable work values such as cooperativeness, teamwork, perseverance, tolerance, etc., and develop respect for manual work and regard for workers. What will be the work behavior? What should be the work behavior in a workplace? So, the manneristic behavior we have to also modify or go through in changes in behavior in visually impaired children in early classes. Students should be encouraged to develop positive work behavior. Students must learn these interpersonal and work skills in order to be successful in the workplace and not only obtain a job but maintain a job. The following is a list of critical work behaviors. The student must learn to get along with their classmates. Almost we see the disabled children or mostly visually impaired children go aside and feel alone. So this kind of behavior or in a workplace this kind of behavior will be discriminated, and every visually impaired children have to be learned to get along with their classmates, with their peers, with their siblings, and healthy discussion discussed with. So next point is come to school on time. On school on time is a disciplinary behavior, and disciplinary behavior is the key point for a job. Observe the classroom rules. Observation of classroom rules be circulated or be repeatedly. Follow directions. Attempt to finish their work. Whenever we see our students does not attempt to finish any work, any homework or any classroom task or in playground, so they skip out. So this behavior have to be dominated and attempt to finish their work as a job's behavior. Do not waste time. Waste of time is a also a manneristic behavior, and it could not be good for a job seeker. Respect authority. Respect authority in teachers, seniors, peers, and youngers. Be courteous and honest. Be dependable. Control their emotions. Work to the best of their abilities. Rules for jobs. Whenever we whenever we see a Disabled children as a worker, we sought the mind and member member of a society. He is a member of society. He is a member of this workplace. So there are rules that people are expected to follow. Similarly, students have to follow rules when they are at school, and different work sites have different rules and expectations of their employees. Help students understand the importance of following rules by having the students discuss, list, and practice rules for home, school, and jobs. List the jobs for which they receive an allowance as well as the rules related to earning the allowance. Generate a list of types of work done in and around the home and gradually shape their ability to perform the work well and in a timely way. Establish a classroom list of rules that are developmentally appropriate, such as listen to others and keep hand to yourselves. Discuss the purpose of the rules. So, discuss the problem and identify possible solutions. For example, what could we do if two children want to ride the same tricycle? So, we given problematic questions, we use inquiry method to analysis and synthetic processes in our pre-vocational training programs. Participate in a volunteer project, either for a single student or for a group, such as hold a car wash and give proceed to a charity. Help at a local charities office, for example, answer for phones, collect material, and stuff envelopes. Make solicitations, calls for a school fund drive, collect magazines to donate to fire stations, senior citizens centers, or shelters for homeless people. Shop for groceries for people who are housebound. So helping nature have to be developed in visually impaired children in early classes to help the student develop an awareness of jobs. When they help, they got some awareness about jobs by providing students the opportunities to discuss with others about how adults and teenagers learn about the jobs they hold. Ask questions of workers whom they encounter during a specific period about the ways they found their jobs and write down or record the responses along with information about the general age and genders of the workers and the types of jobs they have. Shadow workers with jobs having household tasks while they work and perhaps even try the task in the work situations. Consider whether there are particular jobs they would like to have and why they would like to have them. Describe the workers they have made and to explain the relationship between the chores they perform at home and the duties of these workers. Observe the work duties of employees for 1 hour with an explanation of the job duties required in the entire office, not just for one job. Well, so many jobs they can provide it, they can adjust it, they can collect the knowledge about the various jobs, then help the student come up with adaptive devices or tasks that could be done by people who are blind or have low vision. Discuss how people find jobs. So we can discuss the application of any particular job, resume, and interview schedules. So gain access to help wanted ads in newspapers, such job posting online, and obtain applications from business that have help wanted signs. Practice job skills. After students have had an opportunity to observe different types of jobs, provide tools used at those jobs and encourage the students to practice the skills used on the job sites. Help the student practice jobs skill by encouraging them to role play or create a drama describing the jobs they have observed and any interactions the employees might have had with customers, supervisors, and co-workers. Measures and record an activity that they mastered. That this is the skill we have to put on in mind to measure and record either record or note down the activity which they have such a appropriate talent such as collating and stapling papers, alphabetizing student work, erasing the chalkboards. Have the student start a list of skills they learned in order to add it to their resume. So this is the small pre-vocational skill that can be much useful in his future and in his job preparations. Establish a goal for personal improvement on a mastered activity. For example, the student may be able to do the task, but they may need to improve their accuracy or speed. So, when improvement on a mastered activity, we have to discuss the importance of working quickly or at a pace that approximately approximates the speed at which others perform the same task and identify using the process that was described at the beginning of this section strategies for increasing the students working rates. So when we see about Usain boards is faster, so if visually partially sighted or low vision students could be a Paralympic athlete and they have some urge how to build, how to uh, get pace quickly in race. So this is the important pre-vocational skills we discussed on this platform. The three major pre-vocational skills are number one, awareness. Number one, awareness in students. Students learn about various occupations and career options in the world of work. So the awareness is the base for every jobs or vocational skill. When a awareness pre-vocational skill is go well, the vocational training also be very well. So pre-vocational training is an essential tool for integrating individuals with disability, especially those with intellectual disabilities in society. Number two, exploration. Exploration. Students learn about what people do for living and skills needed for various occupations. Always students ask some questions about what he what is the post he has he had, what kind of work this people that people is doing, and how it get his skill, how can we learn about that skill, where we get admission at this course. So this kind of exploration should be. Number three, preparation. Preparation in students participate in activities that integrate academic skills with vocational skills. Students participate in activities and integrate or get some leadership quality and academic skills with vocational skills. They have also get vocational skills when if visually impaired or blind student sing on a sing a song in on a stage, most of the people listen carefully. If a student have some skill of arrangements, so these are the vocational skills we have to explore. Pre-vocational education. So most importantly, vocational training offered in special school need to equip students with skills towards their future independent living. It has been observed that some special schools are providing very good vocational skills training for individuals with intellectual disabilities. However, it appears the programs and levels of training given to these individuals in most cases do not lead to appropriate job placement of such individuals. Also, many students seem not to be able to demonstrate the skills they had learned after leaving school. In in the pre-vocational training programs provided in special schools and enable students to enter job setting without hindrance. So pre-vocational education has been conceptualized in Samagra Shiksha as the integration of work-based activities with teaching learning process rather than a separate add on to the existing scheme of studies of education from class 6 to 8. Pre-vocational education prepares skilled resources and provide them employment opportunity with the support of equal opportunity employers. The training program comprises three components, namely basic skill building, number two, sector specific training, and number three, pre-employment module. This prepares trainees for employment opportunities in various sectors. Here we see a video.
Teacher. Deepesh Sutaria, co-founder and CEO of Enable India, has this to say about their journey.
And in fact, today we are in the 7th generation of trainers who are training our visually impaired candidates.
I am very proud to be working as an expert trainer at Enable India.
Our trainers are visually impaired themselves and started as students at Enable India.
And I'm proud to be a trainer at Enable India.
And I head the visually impaired training and placement vertical at Enable India. So, in fact, many of our visually impaired candidates refer to our training or our curriculum as the IIT curriculum for the visually impaired, and they are waiting for almost 6 months to 2 years to come for this training.
The training starts with candidates learning to believe in themselves. Let's see how a visually impaired trainer uses the simple act of turning on the computer to instill belief.
Nothing will happen. It's okay to make mistakes. Let me see what you're doing. Yeah. Take your hand a bit up. You can press this button to turn on.
Yes, I can't believe I did it, sir.
And you?
3 different roles opened up for persons with vision impairment.
I'm working as a technical support engineer at a product company.
And currently I'm working with one of the leading mail service providers as a spam operations executive.
Currently I'm working as an accessibility test engineer with IBM.
I work as a recruiter in a company name called Allegis Group India.
I'm working as an implementation specialist at EMC Square.
I work as a recruiter at Allegis.
I am proud to be a computer trainer at Enable India.
Enable India has been able to directly reach over 700 unique beneficiaries across 15 states and more than 5,000 indirect beneficiaries in over 25 states. Our content is in 11 countries around the world, and we have enabled 300 plus trainers with our capacity building programs.
So one NGO named Enable India is working well in India, its states, and all over the world. It given pre-vocational training, then vocational training with vocational education, and Enable India NGO also rehabilitate in their place. So this kind of opportunities have to be given to the visually impaired children or trainees, and they will become a good job creator. Next, impact of COVID-19 on persons with disabilities. When distancing is not an option for many as they rely on others, including personal support, workers and caregivers to support their needs, including movement, bathing, feeding, etc. Their physical condition and medical comorbidities put them at higher risk of developing the severe complications of COVID-19. Information on COVID-19 infection prevention strategies focus on the needs of people with disabilities are not being disseminated through media. So, due to COVID-19 restriction, many people with disabilities who operated small businesses or other informal livelihood ventures, example home cell phone repair or machine repair shops, selling goods, etc., are unable to work and there is a significant loss of income, which is not compensated by government programs. So this kind of situation, the visually impaired or disabled children have to learn about the vocational trainings so they can get livelihood ventures or they can open their shops and work for their livelihood. So countrywide lockdown in the situation which place restriction on movement within the community and lack of income prevents them from acquiring needed protective material including face masks, hand sanitizers and hand wash. So this kind of uh, education or information we spread in early stages in schools, in special schools for visually impaired children. Acquiring these materials is particularly important for people with disabilities, as many are in direct physical contact with caregivers and support workers. Loss in jobs for persons with disabilities resulting into family incomes of household. So when they have a training and they can get or create jobs for their livelihood. Strategies to resolve. In that situation, impaired, visually impaired or other disabled person or children have to provide direct education to people with disabilities and their families. Also, on how to protect themselves against COVID-19 through online sessions. Connect people with disabilities with available community resources which are difficult to access during this period of lockdown, including pharmacies, medical clinics, and assistive equipment providers. Imparting online skill building training to persons with disabilities or visual impairment impaired. This time also online skill building training for visually impaired children also running shortly and it be in part of curriculum. Immediate assistance or placement support to person with disabilities. Counseling of persons with disabilities and families. Counseling of a person is important when they cannot got a job for some time and they feel alone. At that time, we have to rehabilitate. We run a program for rehabilitation, or at that time, we counseling process, the physiotherapist process, and another assistive devices can be much can be helpful at that time. Discuss with others about how adults and teenagers learn about the job they hold. Here, the teenagers have the ability to learn about the job skills, and vocational behaviors, and they have to discuss with others who hold the jobs, ask questions of workers whom they encountered during a specific period about the ways they found their jobs, and write down or record the responses. Shadow workers with jobs having household tasks while they work, and perhaps even try the task in the work situations. Consider whether there are particular jobs they would like to have and why they would like to have them. Describe the workers they have made and to explain the relationships between the chores they perform at home and the duties of these workers. What will be the role of pre-vocational training program in job and employment skills? Due to the level of complexity of disability of any disability disabled person, they have not considered capable of obtaining and maintaining employment. But now, with changing attitudes towards the rights of the disabled persons and more awareness about the disabilities and the disability of persons with conditions, are sympathetic to the employment of these individuals, at least in the development countries, and give us role model to follow to increase the opportunities of employment for persons with disabilities from childhood to adulthood. Teachers needed, workers' instruction are complicated, and method change frequently. Is not suitable to do due to their lack of flexibility. Workplaces with noise and bright light to may be unstable due to this sensitivity to loud noise and bright lights. Bright lights and loud noise is sympathetic and knowledgeable employer and tolerant workmate are among the essential appropriate employment that make use of their special skills and is enjoyed when by them is the best way to obtain and sustain employment. Those who can fit into open employment tend to be hardworking. Once they learn the rules, they apply them and are usually honest. Once their disabilities are understood and accepted, they are often popular with their colleagues. When they start work, they need someone to explain every details of the task, including when to start, when to stop work. They need to be explained, not asked related about lunch, about facilities. So even the journey to work also. So today we discussed on pre-vocational training program or pre-vocational training for visually impaired children, and we have we have tried to give knowledge to pre-vocational, vocational, and vocational rehabilitation and these kind of skills which is attached and dependable in jobs and employment skills. Those capabilities and obtaining and maintaining employment for by these skills is necessary for a visually impaired person or children. So about the our session, we we given a thanks to our whole team of LNS. Thank you.